When I think about this question about how they're doing, I immediately go to, I think, a concern that all of us have in education, from policymakers to classroom teachers to parents, and that's this concept of learning loss, right? So when we talk about learning loss, it's really this lower amount of learning that's happening during this pandemic relative to the amount of learning that would typically happen kind of pre-pandemic. We don't quite know what learning loss looks like this academic year, but if anything, if this year is like anything like last year, we could expect some learning losses. So I just wanted to highlight some findings from a report that just came out from an organization that both Dr. Kurlander and I do work with called Policy Analysis for California Education, or PACE. They looked at data from 18 districts covering about 50,000 students in 4th through 10th grade. They looked at data from the 2019 to 2020 year, from fall to fall. What they found were learning losses, and there were learning losses both in English language arts as well as math. I think a couple of things that I wanted to underscore for you and our audience today is when we look at those losses tend to be concentrated or greater in some of the earlier grades. So we're talking about losses in 4th and 5th grade that are much larger in magnitude relative to the higher grades. Second thing is these losses were more pronounced for some of California's most marginalized, disadvantaged groups. When we look at losses, for example, for English language learners, if we just look at 5th grade English language learners, their losses are nearly 30% of the typical gains that they would have made. Now, all students have lost, but they've experienced kind of lesser losses in that. So that's kind of the academic learning loss piece. Again, my work focuses on socio-emotional health and well-being. My sense is there's also going to be patterns with sort of declines in socio-emotional well-being. We also know anecdotally mental health issues, physical health issues are also a huge concern. One more quick thing, as probably Dr. Kurlander can tell you, I'm also a bit of an optimist, so I like to find kind of silver linings in some of this. There was some large scale data that came out from the Northwest Educational Association that kind of looked at 1 in 10 public schools across the US. What they did is they compared reading achievement levels of 3rd through 8th graders last fall in 2019 to this fall in 2020. And those reading scores were actually comparable. So students were still making gains during the fall 2019 to fall 2020 year. So that is a bit of a silver lining. But again, I think overall, we are still concerned about the kind of learning losses that might be happening as we're speaking today.